going.
Yeah, okay. So do you have any tips about how to rehabilitate a home remotely if you want to turn it into a rental?
Okay, so rehabbing is my background. I grew up rehabbing, and I had some experience on my own outside of my family, rehabbing in Merced. And even as close as Merced to where we are, it's about an hour and a half, I still learned lessons of how not to do it. So the first thing you don't do is get a referral of a rehabber from somebody who's already in the deal, such as your realtor. And it might seem counterintuitive because you think, oh, well, my realtor is such a nice person. And if they're referring the rehabber, then, you know, like people stick together, right? Well, yes and no, if you really know who your realtor is. But if you don't know who your realtor is, they might be scamming you to get a rehab job that doesn't actually get rehabbed.
Uh-oh.
Ask how I know.
So you pay for something that doesn't happen, I guess is what you're saying.
Yes.
These people disappear?
Exactly. So you start out the rehab and the realtor says it's going beautiful and they send you pictures, which happen to be pictures of somebody else's house.
Oops.
And then you front the money for some more repairs, and the repairs are not being done, but the realtor tells you they are being done because that's who's supposed to be checking up on your contractor. So we don't do that. You know, we find our own rehabbers through agencies and referrals, and then we always get property inspections done on the rehab work before we pay for the next phase. You know, everything is billed out in phases, and before we pay, we tell the contractor, we're going to have it inspected before we pay, just like banks do. You know, when banks do construction loans, they have somebody go out and inspect it before they pay the next level.
So remember, folks, we said that you need to have some cash reserves in order to do this. This is the reason, because what it boils down to is you have to buy some eyes.
Yes.
You need to have the people that are going to go out. It's not just a do-it-yourself sort of a project.
It's leverage. I consider it leverage.
Yeah.
You know, leverage is not just borrowing from the bank, but it's borrowing other people's time, other people's money, other people's education. And that's how we advance further.
Okay. So, can you now focus on investing in properties in certain locations? Because you were talking about these bulk properties before, and
Yes.
they said, here it is, 10 properties, take it. So what was that like, and what's it like now?
When we started, we'd get a package, and it would be in 5 or 6 different states and many different, you know, right now our entire portfolio is in 15 different states, 43 different cities. And that makes it hard to build a ground crew in one area. But now, because we have hedge funds and pension funds buying up these packages, they let you pick and choose. So you can concentrate in certain areas and build your team there. You can pick and choose. Maybe you just want to be at the Atlanta market or the Las Vegas market. One area that they don't have a lot of is the California market, and the reason comes down to pure mechanics. If it doesn't sit on the market for 180 days, it's not going to be pushed out the back door. For the most part, they don't. Now, there are some bulk packages for California, but not very many. But you can pick just about any other major metropolitan city and focus on it, like Memphis, Las Vegas, Chicago, Jacksonville, just to name a few.
And what are your favorites right now?
Right now, we are in Las Vegas, we are in Atlanta, and then we're picking up properties in rural California.
Rural California.
Yes.
So that's like Modesto and...
Or down near Bakersfield.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
So...
Even some in Vallejo.
Yeah.
Not necessarily rural.
So what are some of these properties in California? What sort of investment are we talking about for those?
So the property that we picked up in California, we paid $26,000.
That's just unbelievable, isn't it?
Yes,
Oh.
for a California property. It is on city water and sewer. It is a 4-bedroom, 1,500 square foot house.
Pretty good sized house.
It's nice. It has a 1/4 acre lot, and it will take us about $10,000 in rehab costs. So we'll be in it totally for $360,000, and we have a renter lined up for $850,000 already.
So the total investment, I think you're saying, is about $36,000.
$36,000, yes.
Yeah, and then and the rent will be $850 or whatever. So that's about 96. So you're still going to recoup in about 3 years.
3 years on that one.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So I understand one of the things that you do is sort of cherry picking, helping your clients to select properties.
We teach our clients how to pick the properties that's best for them. And so based on some different questions, we'll have them come up with an area, and we'll teach them how to evaluate properties, what sites on the internet to look at for evaluation, because there's a plethora of them, but they're not all good and they're not all equal. And so we kind of talk a little bit about declining neighborhoods, stable neighborhoods, and where to purchase. And so we do help our clients with that. You know, and then the other thing is that there are clients that don't want to go through the hassle of picking out a property, rehabbing it, finding a tenant. They just want a turnkey investment, something that they can just buy right now and not have to do all that. We also have those investments available.
Okay. Okay, I'll just go on with the next one here. What if you don't have the cash in your bank account, but you do have it in an IRA or a Roth account?
Yes. You know, there's a lot of people that have between $20,000 and $40,000 in a 401k sitting at an employer they left or an IRA. And you know what? You can use that money to invest. You can take that money, roll it over to a self-directed IRA, and with the right mechanics, the right professionals lined up with you, you want to make sure that you're talking to your CPA, that you're talking to, your accountant, your attorney, and you know all the mechanics, but you can use that money to invest in these type of investments.
Mm-hmm. So another thing that I believe that you help people with is maybe they don't want to deal with the property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but they have some cash.
Mm-hmm.
So how about private money mortgages, or how about buying, so we have somebody that's taken back one of these mortgages. Maybe they'd like to get some cash.
Yes.
So do you help with things like that?
We do. We help people, if they've got cash and they want to get more on the paper side of the investment, we have opportunities where we can help them with that. We can either coach them or introduce them to people that have got that available for them. Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things that just sort of come to my mind related to this stuff. So one is that, particularly like when people are in a retirement mode, but even, let's just put it this way. Most of us could use an extra $750 a month.
Yes.
Just coming in. But when you're in a retirement mode, again, if you can build like a portfolio of these,
Mm-hmm.
Then you could develop, a pretty nice monthly cash flow.
Yeah, if you had 10 to 14 of these homes coming in, you could probably get close to $10,000 a month coming in.
Wouldn't that be nice? Is
Yes.
a nice retirement
Yes.
nest egg? Okay. And again, the other thing, so related to the loans.
Mm-hmm.
So how about collection related to that type of a situation? That, okay, you've got a private money mortgage here. Now I've got a person that's paying on this in Georgia, in
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do related to collection for something like that?
Well, when it's a mortgage that we've put on the property or a land contract, we use what's called a servicing company. It's similar to what Countrywide was, and Bank of America has a servicing company. And they use all of the collection techniques that are available to them that are legal under Fair Credit Act to do collections. And so you don't even have to pick up the phone to make the collection call. They will make it all the way to getting the tenant out of the property for you if they don't pay.
One thing that we haven't talked about very much, and we're probably getting about the last 4 minutes here, but let's talk a little bit about due diligence when you're buying one of these properties.
Yes.
And what sort of things to think about, liabilities that might be attached to them and so forth.
Okay.
And another reason why you want to get the help and guidance from somebody like yourself.
Yes. So the first thing you have to put your mind around is these houses are sitting empty now for 180 days. So there might be somebody living there that shouldn't be there.
Whoops.
So you want somebody on the ground to go look at the property for you. You might want to order that ahead of time before you do a lot of spending money on things like BPOs, just to make sure that the house is even there, because some of these cities have got demo mandates where they're going out and they're demolishing these homes that are not being taken care of.
Oh my gosh.
And so if you don't have somebody on the ground to look, you might not have a house there.
Oh my gosh.
And then on the internet and through other sources like the telephone, you're going to research the water bills, the not electric, but the taxes. And then you might even want to go a little bit further and look at compliance liens, because banks once the realtor has stopped working for the bank does not send anyone out to mow the lawn. And unlike in California, grass grows in these places, and so you might have weeds that are 2 feet high. The city will then mow it and charge you $300 for that mowing fee.
Oh, no.
And if you buy this house as is, where is, from the bank or from a hedge fund, you're buying that bill. So again, that's compliance liens, water and sewer, garbage, taxes. Those are all the things that you want to research on the property.
So part of what you tell people is, where do you call
Yes.
to find out?
And it really does, we are in such a technology-based area that we assume everything can be done through the internet, but not everything in the country moves at that speed. And so you might check on the internet and think that you got it all, but when you pick up the phone and call, you find out that it's really different than what it was on their website. And so it does take picking up the phone and making the phone call.
Okay. So we're getting down to the last couple of minutes here. So I guess I'd ask for you to maybe give some final words of wisdom to our viewers.
Okay, so the first thing is, don't go buy some of these type of homes off from an auction site or off from a list that you're finding on the internet. Make sure you know who it is that you're buying them from. Get references. If somebody asks us, we'll give them 3 to 5 references of our past clients. And the reason I say this is because people sometimes will get other people's lists and act like they're selling them and ask you to forward the money to them, and you get nothing. And so it really is a beware, buyer beware type situation. So just know who you're buying from. Get educated. I cannot stress that enough. Be willing to invest in your education on these homes, but the payoff is significant.
Yeah. Lori, thanks again for being my
Thank
guest.
you.
I'm so glad to have you with me here today. Folks, I think we talked about some fascinating information here. We're talking about significant returns, but there is risk and there's real work that's involved. So that's, I guess, another thing that we would want to emphasize to you.